So there's been a lot written about West Ham over the last few weeks, and I thought it would take a bit of time just to digest all the information, listen to a few of the podcasts and views, and then sort of give my views. Behind me is a cup that West Ham won many years ago. It's called the Spobet Cup. It's a bit of memorabilia that I bought from the club. I'm a diehard West Ham fan, as you all probably know by now. So what I'm going to say may prove a bit controversial, but I'm just sort of dealing with the hard facts and figures. And the first thing that really frustrated me was Tony Gale, who came out and said the net spend for the club over the last 4 years has actually been a paltry 4 million. Tony, it's actually been 104 million. And for those of you that doubt me, if you go on a website called Transfer Market, it's totally independent to the club. If you're a bit of a geek like me, you can sort of look at all the players we've signed and it gives you the transfer values and you can add it up there. And I can tell you now that it's a lot more than 4 million net. If we sort of look at the transfer window, I think most of us were reasonably happy with the signings that we made. The biggest signing was clearly Arnautovic at 25 million. There's a few add-ons as well, and Hernandez at 16 million. But if you get your calculators out, I'm just looking at the figure here, that makes 41 million. And the players going out, you've got Randolph at 5 million, Valencia at 5 million, Feghouli at 3.8 million, Fletcher anywhere between 4 to 8, depending on what you believe, but let's go with the lower figure of 4. And also Nordtvedt was also 4, although it was quoted at 8. So you've got that sort of 19.2 million net spend there. Some papers are quoting around 17.3, but I'm not really going to quibble over a few million. Go back a bit further, last season we spent 63.7 million and sold for 36.9, and I can see everyone trying to think, who was that? Well, the players out, I think we know it was Payet, and I think we got 26.3 million for him and 10.3 million for Tompkins, and the players in, Ayew at 21.7 million. Lanzini came in at the same price as Snodgrass, and what a signing he's been, 10.8 million each. 8.28 million for Fonte, Masuaku 6.39 million, and Fernandes at 5.76. So again, slow this video down, get the calculator out. It's 26.8 million net spend. Let's talk about the Carvalho situation. I think we're all annoyed about it. Dildo Brothers, ha ha ha, very funny, but not very professional, very amateurish from the Sporting Lisbon chairman. Equally, the emails that were leaked wasn't exactly very professional from our end. Draw a line underneath it is really the end of it. When we began this season, Obiang, Noble, Kouyaté, I think most of us were quite pleased with those as our central midfielders. I was actually out at the Euros. I did actually get a chance to watch Portugal. Carvalho wasn't a player I came away raving on about. If he was that world class, I would have suspected Man United and Chelsea would have been in for him at the same time. It's certainly no secret that we were chasing after him. It's also been announced in the press that Arsenal did try and sign him probably a month or so before us, but walked away because they also struggled to negotiate with the Portuguese. So I think one thing's come from this is we certainly won't be doing any business with them in the near future. With regards to the board and backing Bilic, ex-West Ham employee, I was listening to one of his podcasts, and he's adamant that the board wanted to sign another striker. And I wanted to see another striker. I've got my doubts whether Sakho and Carroll can last a full season as the backup boys to Hernandez. And, you know, people were identified, no secret. We've been talking about Iheanacho on this show before. He was one of the players. And also Gray, who was over at Burnley. But Bilic said, no, don't need them. He also said no to a winger, which I'm a bit perplexed by, given that, you know, Snodgrass was let go and also Feghouli. But at the end of the day, that's the manager's decision. We've got a squad of 21 players, plus some youngsters like Rice to come through. So that is where we are. At the end of the day, this is a results-driven business. We've lost 3 on the trot. They have all been away games. And if we look back in the past, their grounds, historically, we've never really done well at. But I think it's the nature of the defeats. We've not shown up at any of the games. And that's where the frustration lies. So the buck has to stop really with the manager and the backroom staff. But I really want Bilic to turn it around. I really hope he can. With regards to the board, if we look at their net worth, Sullivan's around about $1 billion, Gold's around 350 million. I think we need to sort of take a step back and look where the Icelandics left us. You know, we're on the brink of administration, and Tony Fernandes was one of the men that was going to potentially take us on, and he took on QPR, and we can see what happened there. There was a lot of money spent, and they're now down in the Championship and really struggled since then. So Gold and Sullivan took on the club. They personally invested their own money into the budget, etc., the transfer dealings in 2012. They are big West Ham fans. That's very clear. But they're also businessmen at the end of the day. Comments in the past have probably led to sort of concerns, you know, we're going to bring in star players, we're going to be in the Champions League and so on. I think Sullivan, prior to the Carvalho situation, had taken a much more quieter approach to the way he dealt with the media, and I applauded him for that. But at the end of the day, they are the chairman. They are in charge of the club, and we really have got to think about this on Monday when we play Huddersfield. I'm a season ticket holder. I'm a big West Ham fan. I'm going to my seat. I'm going to support the club. I'm going to support the team. I'm going to support the board. And above all, I'm going to support the manager. If we start Bilic out or get the board out and so on, it's just going to make things messy. It's not going to be a good atmosphere, and Huddersfield will just rip us apart. I'm fingers crossed that's not the case. I could see Huddersfield potentially snapping a 1-0 win because morale is low. But I'm hopeful for a West Ham win. I'm there to see West Ham. They're my club. So all I'd ask is, you know, take a step back, reflect on everything. Final thought, by the way, and this isn't an excuse, but it's a reality we have to accept. Some players have signed longer-term contracts at much bigger wages. So some of those players in question, Reed, Obiang, Ogbonna, and we're all very happy about that. and Lanzini hopefully will be another player that also signs on the dotted line. This is all further expenditure, and the financial fair play thing is very, very important. You might come back at me and say, Paris Saint-Germain get away with it. Why can't we? Paris Saint-Germain can't get away with it. They're under review as we speak. So it is a cost in terms of players' wages, and obviously the better players would expect higher wages. Hernandez is another good example, a player on a very, very high contract. So let's not dismiss that thought, but ultimately turn your thoughts to Monday, get behind the team, and come on, you Irons.